How is it going, boys and girls? Welcome back to Key West Waterman.
This lizard thought he was going fishing. Look at him, he's flexing on us. Go shoo him off there.
Okay. How is it going, boys and girls? Welcome back to Key West Waterman. My name is Aaron Young. It's a beautiful day. You can see the flag there. Don't really have much of a plan. We're just kind of going out to shoot some fish, or maybe catch some fish. We brought a couple rods and some baits. I've got Brandon with me. You met him last week, and you know this guy, cooking with clams. He is back in town, back from Hawaii. But we're just kind of heading out. Like I said, no real plan. Kind of see where the day takes us. We're starting off recreational, and if by chance it's good, maybe we'll shoot a couple fish to sell. But other than that, let's rock and roll.
I didn't mean to send that video to you.
Look at that. So I think we're gonna start off with a little diving. I've had a lot of you ask about wanting more fishing videos, and I'll reiterate this. To be honest with you, I'm not going out of my way to film stuff. I'm filming stuff that I'm already doing, just bringing you guys along. So when the conditions are right for dive, I'm gonna dive a lot. When the conditions are right for fishing, I'm gonna fish a lot. So we've been doing a lot of diving lately, and that's mainly because the water's been clear. So anyways, we're gonna get anchored up and get in the water. One more thing, and I promise I'm done talking. I know you guys like seeing the bottom that I'm working. So this is our first spot. They roll off, and you can see there's a nice ball of life there. So I'm just gonna anchor up on the edge of it.
You're good.
Take a peek. Yeah, let it rip. Oh. Why do I have to make noises every time I move? Why do I have to like make noises every time I move? Like, oh.
Dude, that's part of it.
It's part of getting old.
Right.
My warranty's running out.
Yeah.
Welcome back underwater, everybody. Do appreciate you tuning in. I'm gonna narrate my dives and share my thoughts as always. I feel like this is getting a little boring, but if you ever get tired of it, just let me know. I'll throw music over it. You can see a big old bull shark comes in. A lot of you guys are always asking me about sharks. Am I concerned with them? What do you do? Quite honestly, if they're behaving as that one was, you just pay them no mind. I mean, you respect them, know that they're there, but that shark was no threat. It was just swimming by, curious. I mean, it's swimming around just like I am. So I had done probably 6 or 7 drops on this first spot. I did not see a single fish, and I finally got my eyes on a nice black grouper. And you can see as I get close, it kind of starts to squirt out away from me. But it's still pretty mellow. It's kicking kind of slow. So in that situation, I try to get down to the bottom and use the rocks as my cover. And as the fish goes behind rocks, I use that time to advance my position a little faster than I normally would. So just kind of crawling towards this guy. It comes around and sets right up on this rock, just kind of at a weird angle. And I was waiting for it to turn, and it was enough behind the rock that it felt comfortable. Never turned, so I took the shot. I didn't mess up any meat, but I just, you know me, I like to get my stone shot if I can, but the fish did not allow it. I let that fish dangle just for a little bit longer than I should have, but I tried to get it up quick there. Oh, and another side note, congratulations to Brian Rodriguez. He was the first winner of our most recent cash giveaway, the new system. Won $100, and these giveaways won't be every video, but I'll squeeze them in when I can, and I'll tell you at the beginning of the video if it's a giveaway, by the way. And also, a lot of you have had questions about braining properly and bleeding properly, and another few of you were asking about how to remove the cheeks and collars from a fish. So if you want to see that, stay tuned to the end of the video. I go a little more in depth on how to properly brain, bleed, and I'll show you how to remove a collar and cheeks from these groupers. So this was another dive, same spot. You can see it's a pretty cool roll off. It's real steep, nice big chunky Swiss cheesy bottom, and it just kind of lays out into the sand. As I drop, I just kind of pan. I'm not really focusing on anything. I'm just scanning, looking for any object that catches my eye. You'll see a little grouper over here, kind of takes off to the side. I start to kind of pursue it and go down at the same time, and that fish just jets out faster than I can keep up with, and that one got away. We don't always get them. This is actually Brandon's camera. Brandon's a good friend of mine. He's dove with me quite a bit. He's one of the divers I do trust. I was able to get a camera on him this time, get us some different angles. I know it's always just me for the most part, but big old turtle. Always a pleasant sight. So you can see me. I'm pointing at a grouper. If you're watching on a big screen, you may be able to see it. They're pretty camouflage, especially on a GoPro. They're fairly zoomed out. For whatever reason, Brandon's camera was not on this clip. He's dropping down. Same thing kind of happens. Grouper squirts out away from him. He kind of gets a little low and starts to give a little bit of a chase. You'll hear his gun go off here in a sec. And that lets me know. I can hear the fish flopping, so in my head I go, I got to get down there, make sure no sharks come up. Just buddy diving like we always do, nothing different. Always talk about that fish dangling. Just creates an opportunity. I've never had a shark try to grab a fish out of my hand, but if you let him dangle, I've seen it happen.
Nicely done, sir. Man, you've got some range with that koa. I was like, no way he's making that shot. That was impressive. Did it really? Try and hide my giant forehead. First spot, we got two nice blacks. I don't know if Brandon's camera was on, but we just moved about half a mile down and I can see the sand in 75. So that is, ooh, got a little bit of scratchy life on the bottom. This is the rock. Sand goes down there. It's about 72 to the sand, I think. But we got a little bit of life coming. This is a new spot. Haven't dove it yet. Let's go take a peek.
So, new spot. Brandon was a star of the show on this spot. I didn't see a single shooter grouper. I don't know what I was doing wrong. Him and Will kind of went off, and I was hanging around the boat. We weren't too far apart, but it seemed like I couldn't find anything, and apparently they saw quite a few. So this is Brandon's camera, and he's got a grouper in mind. Probably can't see it. Like I said, these GoPros fairly zoomed out, but you can just see how clear the water is, man. I wish it was always like this. Well, I don't know. May not be any fish left if everyone could see this well all the time. So this grouper's just on the backside of this rock, and I always talk about this approach, like coming around a corner. You got to be ready, because the second you see that side of the face, or they see you, they're gonna dart. So if you see their lips first, and you can see it just pokes around the corner, and he gets just enough where he knows that shaft is gonna hold, and that's kind of a sticky situation there. The line was wrapped for just a second, and again, I've been working on this with Brandon. I've talked to him about it a couple of times, letting fish dangle. You're always taking a risk there, but to each their own. My way's not the right way. And luckily he got that fish up, no issue. You can see coming around that corner, all he got was a shot just in the face and didn't mess the meat up at all. And this is Brandon's camera again. As always, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and I'd be happy to get to them. You can see the grouper he's targeting here, being pretty comfortable. Shark there, kind of ready. After that last fish, it must have brought him in. This fish squares up beautifully. You really want that stone shot. And you'll see here, if you let that fish dangle, it creates an opportunity again. If you're not comfortable pulling the fish up to you, I don't recommend it, but you can see the result there. Unfortunately, the tax man collected. And once that feeding frenzy starts, you can see how quickly they show up. It does not take long.
So we just pulled up on another spot. Oh, you can see him right there. I don't know if the camera will pick him up. There's a mutton, giant mutton swimming under the boat. See him?
Yep.
That's how clear the water is. Look at him right here. Dude, it's so funny. Wow, this is unbelievable. Big old midnight parrotfish. We gonna hop in and get a closer look.
So we had literally just hopped in the water, and you can hear Brandon yell AP. What that means is African pompano. Not common to see this shallow. This is Brandon's camera, a little low, but these two African pompanos came in. Not something you typically see on the reef. It was a pair of them. He dropped down, got a nice shot on the bigger of them. And this fish runs. This fish was big. This is why we have the reels on our guns, just in case something like this happens. You're ready for a bigger fish, you can handle it. And before someone says it, I know someone's going to. You cannot spear African pompano in state waters. We were not in state waters, I assure you. They are legal to spear in federal waters. And Brandon starts to work on this fish. This fight took actually quite a while. You can see starts to come up, and then this fish was so big it just kept running him back down, and he was worried about it pulling out, so he kind of babied it a little bit. I'll break to my camera here in just a sec. You can see me drop. A lot of times if there's a pair of these fish, you see me drop down and try and plug the other one. If there's a pair of these fish, the second one will follow the first one. And here's my angle. Just kind of curious as to what's going on. These fish are beautiful. They pull a great price at the market. They're absolutely delicious. If you've never tried African pompano and you get the chance, I highly recommend it. And you'll see, using a reel, I mean, it can be kind of complicated if you haven't done it before. I more so try to fight my fish from the line, not the spear gun itself. You can see I'm kind of letting it go until it gets settled, and then I set my drag where I want it. I typically don't leave it very tight. I want it to be fairly loose. That way if the fish does make a big run, the reel will just start to let line out and I don't lose my gun. But you'll see I'm pulling line in and I just throw it behind me. You don't want this line to get wrapped around you. I preach line management in these situations. You can see my line's behind me there. My gun is well away from me. Just trying to stay clear of everything.
Woo! Hold him up. Holy moly. Bro, give me some. Let me try and get some underwater of it. Dude, epic. Oh, I got one.
Oh, you got
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, I did. There you go. Epic. Dude, that was awesome. We're over here looking at groupers. I hear Brandon behind me screaming. I don't know what he was saying. I just turned around and two of them swam up. Threw a... Was yours far?
That was a decent job.
I kind of threw a Hail Mary at mine because he was zipping around so fast. Don't see these a whole lot. that shallow, but love to see them. I'm gonna go shoot that black.
So after all that, we hop back in, same spot. You can see the amount of yellowtails that are down there on the bottom, and it was so clear we could see some of these groupers swimming around. God, it's just so clear. I love it. Groupers love eating yellowtails. So it's so clear. I'm for the most part spotting my groupers from the surface. As I get closer, I try to feel out which one is the most comfortable, and then I kind of angle my direction that way. You can see a big Goliath. This one's pretty comfortable, and as I'm getting close, a lot of times I'll stop kicking or just barely flutter kick and wait, until I'm ready. A lot of that movement is what spooks these things. You can see that fish stayed fairly mellow, gave me a nice broadside, and I got the stone shot on it. Luckily, didn't have to deal with any of the sharks or any other predators. This is Brandon's angle coming up. Trying to incorporate some third-person stuff. I know it's always the same head cam. It's a little different. Nice having someone else in the water with the camera on.
Big ones scurried.
So I get a ton of questions about gutting fish in the water. Does it attract sharks? I mean, I'm not going to say that it doesn't, but for the most part, there's sharks here already. Like, we deal with them every single day. It's just something that we're used to. And quite honestly, those fish thrashing on the bottom, when we shoot them on the bottom and we don't stone them, and they're creating all that commotion and noise and vibration in the water, that alone is going to bring the sharks in. So I don't really think it makes a huge difference, but again, that's just my opinion. And this fish doesn't do much. I was dropped real mellow on it. Like I said, I stopped kicking, just kind of sank towards it, and it looks like I stoned that fish. It started to kick a little bit, and then it stopped. What that actually means is I what I call nerved it. I didn't hit the brain, but I hit something. Don't quote me on this. I don't know if there's a lateral line or something right there, but that shot will almost turn the fish's motor skills off. But the fish is actually not dead. You'll see the shaft is a little farther back than the brain is, and I'm still going to brain this fish. Yeah, you can see how much farther forward my knife is than the shaft. Again, I don't know the science behind that, but I call it nerving a fish.
This one? Yeah. There's two down there that are small. It's so clear it's deceiving.
So this is Brandon's camera. We'd actually been spotting this big one that just wouldn't give us the opportunity. So we stayed there long enough. We kept messing with it, and finally the fish comes in. I told Brandon, just get up, get a good breath, take your time. We've got sharks around, so just be careful with your shot, make it count. So this is Brandon's camera going down. You can see the fish already. Shark kind of circling. Nice, big grouper. He does perfect. He's real mellow, not a lot of head movements. Kind of an awkward spin there, but the fish just is comfortable enough. Gives him enough side shot, and that's a tough one. You want to try and pull that out in one dive. That's a big fish. There's a lot going on there. So he decides to come up, and we will reassess. The fish is away in a hole. The sharks aren't going to get it, so that's the best thing.
I got a good shot. Good shot.
And it is really hard to stay calm after a dive like that. You could hear the excitement in Brandon's voice. You could hear him catching his breath. And I've spoke about this in the past. the dive to retrieve a fish is probably the most difficult dive there is. Your heart rate's elevated, you're excited, you want to get the fish in the boat. There's sharks down there. There's 100 things going through your mind. So I felt pretty fresh. I'm fairly comfortable with sharks. You know, I've spoke about it in the past. I consider myself a fairly mellow individual, and I can stay calm in these kind of situations. So we decided to leave Brandon topside. I told him I would try to retrieve the fish. And you can see there's sharks circling all around. I think there's 4 or 5 lemons. And I think Discovery Channel makes it seem like when there's blood in the water, these things are going to eat everything, which it's not the truth. Here, anyways, I can't comment about the rest of the world. The smallest lemon there's, I don't know, 7-8 feet. So instead of pulling this fish out green, I decide I'm going to try and brain it inside the hole, because if I do bring that fish out, it's alive and thrashing. I'm asking for the sharks to get a little more curious and try and take advantage of an opportunity. If I can brain the fish in the hole and bring it out dead, I'm just another thing swimming around, and they don't know any better. And you'll see, get the fish out, I turn around, the sharks have no idea I even have the fish. They're still circling around the same spot. So a little bit of teamwork there. Ended up with a phenomenal grouper. Stoked for Brandon. Had a 35-pound African pompano and I think it was around 25-pound black in the same day.
Big juicy. Woo! Big juicy. That's for shooting around corners, man. Wow. That's your fish, dog. We gotta get a photo of this one. Sharks everywhere. My man Brandon. Is that an old shot from somebody?
No, that's the sharks. The sharks are getting.
Oh, they were grabbing him. Dude, look at that tail. Beautiful fish, my man. Congratulations.
Woo. Hold them sideways. We're done.
Love it. I do need to show you real quick the power of these groupers. That is Brandon's shaft. And I swear at the beginning of this, it was straight. It's very, very impressive. So I'm feeling pretty good. I've always wanted to dive this spot. It's a little deep. The bottom of the boat sits down, so it's about probably 86, closer to 86, 87, but I may go take a look.
So I truthfully don't do these deep dives very often anymore. Not a huge fan of going past 80. Not much more to see down there. I mean, you'll get some opportunities on bigger fish, but I was feeling really good. I wanted to do a couple, I don't know, maybe to see or remind myself that I still got it. I don't know. But again, bottom's around 85, 87, depending on whether you land on rock or sand. Just all kinds of life on this spot. It's so weird. It's such a subtle little section of hard bottom, but it holds so many fish. And on a dive like this, my breathe up is a lot longer. I just want to be safe. You don't want to be pushing anything like this deep. You don't want to be rushed coming back up. I think my breathe ups on these dives were, I don't know, 3 to 4 minutes compared to about 2. And I cut to Brandon's camera. He went down just to kind of be a hover safety here. You can see me kind of flailing around. Not ideal, but I'm tracking a mangrove, not a grouper, so. Get a nice shot on a decent mangrove. There was all kinds of groupers here. I did a couple more dives and saw some. We had a good enough day going already. I didn't want to get greedy, and I really did not want to fight a fish or get it rocked up in 85 feet, so. I still got it, though. 85 feet, mangrove snapper. Felt pretty good.
That didn't feel as deep as I thought it was. Did you see some of those mangroves? There's some bruiser mangroves down there. There was one black, but I was like, oh, I've kind of already been down here a while. What an absolutely just pleasant day. I feel like sometimes when you just don't make plans, start late, and don't have expectations, sometimes it's just the best days ever. And I mean, that's kind of what today was. Got plenty to sell to the market. I'll make at least a few bucks, and really just had a great time. Thanks for coming along. This is not the end. I'm gonna get these to the market, get some numbers, and I'll get you guys a commercial breakdown that you like. But we are done out here. Just unbelievable conditions. Hard to leave. See you at the dock.
How'd you do, Aaron? We did all right. We kind of went to goof off and ended up doing pretty well, actually. Alrighty, so we're back at the house. Had a great day, commercial spearfishing. I'm gonna go over a few things that I've had questions about: braining, bleeding, and then I'm gonna show you how to pull the collar out, and then I'm gonna show you how to pull the cheeks out. And then, well, I'll just tell you, we made like, I think it was like 500 bucks after expenses. Total sale was like 8 something. We had about 300 chum and gas and a couple bent shafts. So anyways, first I want to go over braining a fish. A lot of people you ask this may be a little bit morbid having just the head, but I figure it's better than holding an alive fish and doing this slowly. And this is pretty similar on most fish. The hole is already here because I've already done it, obviously, but when I have my fish, I grab it by the gills just so it doesn't struggle a whole lot, and you get your leverage with the knife a little better. So I try to come down at an angle, and you'll go through the flesh, and then you'll hit a hard spot. Right here, there's almost like a little divot in the skull, and you can almost feel it with your knife, because if you come here, it doesn't go in, and if you come up there, it goes in way too far. But if you come right here, you'll feel the divot, and you'll feel what is the skull, and then you just go just past that. You see how the knife goes a little farther. Sometimes you'll have to twist or move it around, but you'll be able to tell that the fish has been successfully brained. But there's a pretty good visual of kind of the angle. I mean, I don't know, that's pretty close to 45. I see some people try to come right here. You can still get it from right there. There's just a lot more bone right there. If you took the flesh off the skull, you'd see there's a little bit thicker ridge. That angle, it's on both sides, those little divots. So that is braining. Now when it comes to bleeding, after the fish has been brained, I don't do it before I brain the fish because the heart is still going to pump for a little while after. So typically the fish is a little more loose because this fish is ice, so it's a little firm right now. But I open those gills up, and I kind of just start right here, and there's a little bit of, I don't know if you'd call it membrane, and you just run it right there, and the heart is located under this collar piece right here. So there's a good chance you're going to nick the heart or some of those arteries going to the gills, or the main, I guess it's an artery, I don't know, I'm not a doctor. The main, what I would call the artery connected to the heart, and you'll see in my videos the blood comes pouring out. And again, you don't have to do that while the fish is alive. That heart will continue to beat for a while after the fish has been brained. So my fish is dead. Now I'm going to show you two of the most popular cuts, in my opinion. The cheeks, which are really good fried, and then we'll pull the collar out. So you've probably seen a video of this before, maybe. If you haven't, here we go. So on groupers, the bigger the grouper, the bigger the cheek. I start a little farther back. Just be careful not to cut yourself and just get under the skin. And then you'll feel the gill plate right here, and you can kind of see it's real hard. You'll feel that with your knife, and then you try to just ride that around best you can and go as wide as possible. And I follow it
up under the kind of the lips. Hopefully you can see here. Ooh, got some sounds coming out of there. And you'll see this cheek is starting to come out a little bit. And then it's kind of a weird angle. Not used to showing people this. So there's another bone right there behind the eye socket. Just kind of follow that down. And my cheek starts to take shape. And a lot of times I'll just leave it. I might have screwed that up. You can just pretty much just peel it. You don't really have to skin it. It's easier when it's on the fish. Bear with me here. There you are. That is a beautiful, tender little morsel. So there's a cheek. For the sake of time, I will show you the collar. So I start taking that, kind of where you bleed it, take that membrane all the way down on both sides. And you'll see, if you open this gill up, you'll see there's like almost a little hinge right there. And if you want, take a serrated knife and just power through that. But you actually can go under the hinge, and then on the back side of it, you'll see there's another one right there. You come on the back side of it, just watch your fingers. You go through that way. Whoop. So that side is free. Same thing over here. Trying to get the angles here. Behind the hinge, and down. Just move a little bit of that. And you start to come loose there. This part is pretty tough. If you have a serrated, use it. And that is your collar. And these are becoming ever more popular. Oh, look, the heart's still in there. You can actually see it, so you can see its location. So that is the heart. You can see that's the main artery that I'm guessing runs up to the gills or feeds the rest of the body. I don't know. But you see that's where it's located. So when you go to bleed it, you run that knife, take it right there. But that is a beautiful cut of meat. That's pretty much all meat. Again, these are becoming more and more popular, which I like. But other than that, we are done here. I'm not going to cook on this one. I do appreciate you guys tuning in. I'll get back to the catch and cooks as business slows down. Very busy with charters right now, but as always, thanks so much for your support. Thank you for all the t-shirt orders. There's still a few on there on the website, so if you haven't got one, jump on there and get one. Other than that, I will see you guys in the next one. Like if you haven't, subscribe if you're not, and I'll see you next Monday, 6 p.m. Later.